Hey, it's John, and today we're covering the basic camping gear that I bring in my JL Wrangler. Stay tuned and go wheel. We're gonna start with just how I pack my rig. We'll go from there. So underneath the back seat, I have usually have toilet paper, a fire extinguisher, and an air compressor. Right now, the Smitty built compressor is right there. I'll be changing that out for a power tanks in the near future, and I'll be doing a video on that. I carry my Jackery right here for either the 12-volt fridge or my CPAP or both. Extra pair of boots, a soft cooler just for your lunch and your drinks for the day, so you don't have to keep taking out the giant cooler. A dry food storage right there. So in the cargo area, I usually put the soft stuff up top and the cooler in the kitchen on the bottom. So right now I got a Canyon cooler packed on the right, and then my kitchen box on the left, ammo can and a Scepter 2.5 gallon water tank, spare tarp just in case, also use it for tarping off some trees for the restroom, solar panel, and the camp stove. And then up here we have some recovery gear. I usually keep a couple straps on the sides, easy to access, easy to get to. I got my camp coffee right here that I'll usually set up on this thing. Do that right now real quick even. So yeah, I'll often set up camp coffee, or if I have to do a quick freeze-dried meal, I'll set it up here as well. So I got my air mattress. I can usually put a second air mattress and a second clothing bag in here, no problem, if not a third of each. There's the tent in the back right there. And then yeah, there's 2 sleeping bags. There's 2 big pillows in this cinch sack that this was probably 10 or 20 bucks on Amazon. This is a $20 wool blanket on Amazon that I keep for emergencies. I have a jump starter right there on the right, and the medical kit. Those are the kind of things I want, really easy to get to, really fast. Same thing with straps. And then I also have some soft shackles kind of in the front, I think right here, and there's also a water bucket right here. Actually, there's 2 water buckets. So there's 2 water buckets and the strap right there. I usually put some extra propane bottles right here as well, or extra water bottles. I can fit a lot more soft stuff up here if needed. And then yeah, for the quick and dirty lunches, we usually set up right here on the table. If you're doing a quick one-night trip, this thing is more than enough for 1 or 2 nights just to cook on. You won't even need to bring a table. Again, dry food storage. I try to limit myself to that much dry food no matter what. It's really, really easy to overpack food, especially canned goods and dry goods and snacks, so just limit yourself. I mean, unless you're going for a very long time, that should be more than enough for 2 to 3 people for 3 or 4 nights. Also too, I normally have my a case or 2 of water bottles under this soft cooler, but I took them out to drink them, forgot to put them back in. So yeah, I'll have that, and then my flip-flops and extra gloves right there. Usually have those little cheap telescoping lanterns, those $5 Amazon lanterns kind of floating around under the seats as well. And then under the seat, there is a fire extinguisher, a ratchet strap, and there's a power tanks tire repair kit as well. It's hard to see, and some glue tread from Morphlate. It's once again kind of hard to see back there on the right. I always keep just a couple bungees in the doors, and then I always have gloves and those neck cooler things and some hand warmers on these back seat things right here. Always keep bug spray on one of the door holders, and then I usually have sunscreen on one of these as well, just so it's really, really, really convenient to get to. Otherwise you'll never use it, at least the sunscreen for that matter. I have a small shovel with a large head, so it's 30 inches or whatever. Chainsaw, a camp kitchen setup from Walmart from 10, 15 years ago. This is a Coleman fold-up aluminum table. It's really small and light. There's an Alps mountaineering chair. They have the strongest leg setup I've seen, and then a ladder golf setup in the right over there. Quadratech aluminum rack, so it only weighs 37 pounds. So it's the lightest rack I could find for the price. I will fit my large cots in there. I actually have a lot of cots right there, 2 Coleman cots, and I have 2 giant Alps mountaineering or Teton Sports cots now. So I'm just going to be unpacking the kitchen in the shop and just kind of walking through the kitchen setup. get to camp, set up the camp kitchen, get the dry food out, and then have this thing's really old and pretty well made, an old Coleman like kitchen setup. It folds into the size of a chair. That thing doesn't want to work anymore, but it has a hook for a lantern, thing for paper towels. I usually have the spatulas hanging off this thing with all your, if you have like ketchup and mustard for burgers and dogs. I bring the one pan, the cast iron skillet. Pretty much if someone else brings another pan, that's why we coordinate kitchens. You can have a pan and a pot or 2 pans that way. That way you don't have to bring everything. I keep a couple of these in there at all times, some cheap cutting boards. And then I'll keep like 2 or 3 or 4 of these guys just around the kitchen area. I actually leave most of the gear in the kitchen tote. And so you can see like the wash basin down there will come out. And I'll usually set the water jug actually on the cooler. So have the water jug on the cooler. Just have that cheap tub right there to catch drain water, and we use it either for extra water for putting out the fire or for washing dirty dishes. I kind of leave most of the stuff in the camp tote, and it kind of sits under this table. It's an old Coleman table. The funny thing is this table isn't nearly as old as this. This is probably 10 or 15 years old, maybe 20. Got it at Walmart for $39 years ago. This was like 40 or 50 bucks at Walmart. And this thing is falling apart already. And it's kind of a pain in the butt to put together for some reason. But either way, that's like the kitchen setup. It doesn't take much space. You can usually stick it on a roof rack or inside a trasharoo. Put the two, they both fold up, and both table setups fold into about the size of a camp chair. And then have your kitchen tote kind of set up to where you got your all your utensils in there. Your fire gloves. These are also good for picking up the cast iron that gets hot. Coffee stuff, bowls and coffee cups. Got your coffee mug, your French. Just got that French press for Christmas, so this is just like, okay, we got some fast orange and your soap and some sponges in here, some batteries, some fire starting stuff, and a bunch of stick lighters. And also got some paracord, which comes in handy for all kinds of random stuff. Also some dice and cards if we get stuck hanging out in the tent while it's raining. And then I love these are like restaurant style bread knives. And I use them for anything and everything, including cutting up tri-tip, cutting up sandwiches, anything you can think of. And they're like $14. They're super durable. They seem to last forever. Get them on Amazon. Look up, restaurant bread knife or something. And then this is an old percolator where they kind of failed on me, and I use it just for boiling water. So there's my water boiler. That's really just the camp setup right there. You cook everything in one cast iron skillet. You plan accordingly. You don't try to bring anything and everything camping. You just bring just enough to kind of work with what you're bringing. And then like I usually put spices. If I'm gonna do spices and paper towels, they go in my dry food box. And like I said, there'll be cans of beans in there, some emergency freeze-dried food, and if you have like buns for burgers, buns for hot dogs, ketchup and mustard that aren't open yet, put them in there. And then I'll either do a Canyon cooler or one of my cheap Amazon Vevor 12-volt fridges. I'll do another one where I set up the tent and just show you my inside the tent setup. Usually have a fold-up chair and the air mattress inside the tent. I use 2 pillows. I try to always bring a spare sleeping bag in case someone forgets one or if someone gets really cold, because I always bring a -25 bag and a -10 bag, and then just my spare work boots. You'd be surprised how often you get your boots wet. And then I also bring flip-flops on top of that as like spares. And then my clothing bag, I don't bring a lot of clothes. I usually have like my Costco knockoff Carhartt jacket just floating in the Jeep in case we get cold. And I think that's mostly it. One more really important thing is the spiderweb shade or Sackett trash bags. I don't care which one you get. I like trasharoos too, but all these modern fancy Jeeps have cameras on the back. So if you put a trasharoo on the back, it blocks the camera. So I usually bring the trasharoo to the camp out, and then I don't put it on until I'm going home and when the trasharoo's full. And then because of these spiderweb shade mesh bags or mesh bags, I put all my recycling in these. And I usually have one on each side of the tire, and I just fasten it with the bungee, and they stay on. You'd be surprised. They'll stay on through the whole Rubicon Trail, and they'll make it home. So anyways, my camp kitchen, I think I think this is about as fancy as you can get for the size of basically 2 folding chairs and a tote, along with your propane stove. And that's how it kind of packs up. And then, yeah, I mean, I don't bring anything to hold the water jug. It usually sits on the ground if we need to put it on the cooler while we're dumping water. And like I said, bring a water tote. I don't know. If there's anything I missed, guys, please post up. But I think this is a pretty good setup that'll get you by. Always have a couple different apparatus for making coffee. I'll say that most of my kitchen gear is focused around coffee in the mornings. So I usually boil water in this guy. And then this thing is a pour over that I got from Amazon Prime. It's made by GSI Outdoors. It folds up into nothing, and I carry some cheap filters. I'll do pour overs into my cool coffee mug. I just got this for Christmas, haven't used it yet, but it's a French press. I plan on using this year. This looks like it would, you know, between this and a pour over, I can make a lot of coffee for a lot of people. I've forgotten to bring anything to make coffee before and end up cutting a water bottle in half and sticking a paper towel in it. And that kind of sucks. So now I make sure I have at least 2 to 3 different ways to make coffee. These aren't for me, these are for guests. You know, if we have people who forgot to bring their own mugs, I have there's 3 of them, so I can take care of 3 people. Also good for making cocktails around the campfire. The bowls I never use. The life straw thing is just there for emergencies if we run out of water. That's a spare air compressor. In case I forget my chainsaw, I bring that hacksaw. So that's my camping gear set up in my Wrangler and my camp kitchen set up in the garage. Thanks for watching this week, guys. Please like, subscribe, and share it out. Comment if you can, and go wheel. See you guys next time.